Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining. I'm so glad that we're getting to sit together again, and thank you for taking time to have me and our guest today in your ear, helping you to expand your perception of yourself, of the world, and make you a more effective person, a more effective leader, a more happy place where you can take what we're learning today from our guest, Kelly Baader, which I'm so excited to be talking to and with, into your life, into your business, into your relationships, into your marriage. And so, Kelly, thank you so much. I'm going to give a little bit of an intro so people know more about you. Kelly believes that to be most effective, we need to have a niche. We really need to go into who we are and pull that soul out into our messaging. And she equips Christian coaches and consultants with strategies to create highly profitable, and I underline highly profitable, businesses by establishing a preeminent positioning. Now, sometimes we want to be everything to everybody because, you know, you're a heart personality and that's what you want to do. I know you're listening. And yet we also know inside of us that we need to niche down. We need to have a clear message. Need to have a clear focus and a clear want that resonates with our core values and brings that part of ourselves forward. So you're going to sustain the energy in your day and in your life. And at the end of the day, what we all want is that we rest our head on the pillow and tell ourselves, job well done. So that's the conversation we're going to have today. And I want you to take note here, and I'm also going to be mentioning this toward the end of our time together, that Kelly Baader, Baader, KELLYBAADER.com is where you want to go. And she has a gift for you today. It is the Power of One framework. We're going to be talking about that and how you're going to get that and learn with it, right? And so Kelly does live in Switzerland. So she's coming to us from Switzerland today, which is awesome. I love the power of the internet because we can sit, you're in Switzerland, here I am in Houston, Texas, in our beautiful audience that we're all gathered together here. It's all over this world listening to these wonderful words. So Kelly, thank you for being our guest here today on Light Your Life.
Oh, it's such an honor. And like you, I'm so grateful about the technology. So we can even thousands of miles away, but we still can, check this way and then to serve your audience this way.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful for you to be here. And so Kelly and I met in a mastermind. And if you don't really know the nature of a mastermind, it's a group of like-minded individuals that have a desire to come together and collaborate. We want to hear each other's stories. We want to take pieces away from other people's lives to see, can that work for me too? Very much like this podcast. And then also we toss out ideas and get feedback. So it's a non-attached sounding board that will come to the conversation with true want of your success. And so Kelly and I met through Mike Kim's mastermind. We love and adore Mike Kim. He's just so cool. And I'm just so glad that we got to meet. And so my first question, I wanted to go back to your book. You've written a beautiful book, A Little Girl Named Grace, which was a #1 bestseller on Amazon. Congratulations. What had you write that book? What had you tell that story?
Well, the real reason why, I wrote that book is not like I woke up in the morning, I'm so excited, I'm gonna write a book.
Right.
Because that actually is my personal story. And it's about, a pretty broken childhood and dark time as I grew up all the way to, face, on top of sexual abuse and family violence and also the discrimination at the workplace and entrepreneurial journey. Because I'm person of faith. And so, it's really like, I knew kind of in my heart, as a voice say, it's time to write your book. It's the right time to write your book. And I totally resist against it because thinking, I thought, right, I finally got healed from all those wounds. And now you want me to go back to write, to go over again. And so when God told me that I need to write a book, I would totally resist about it. So if you ask me, say why I wrote that book, well, I was pushed to do it. Just that's the situation. Yeah.
I love that. And, many of us get to that place. I know I have those stories in myself, and we get to we've healed it. We're like, okay, that's in the past. why would I even dive into that again and pull that forward? I'm glad God spoke to you in that way. The truth is, you know this, we read stories. I mean, even in the Bible, we're reading past stories to learn the richness from it. And one of your mantras and the lessons that you have in your book is that you say that brokenness itself is a shortcut to your success. And how many people my hand raised, avoid that ultimate lesson in the story that we need to tell others. And so did you find freedom for yourself and empowerment whenever you did listen to that and begin to tell your wounded story so other people could learn from you?
I think to answer that question, maybe we can kind of circle back a little bit about the book, right?
Please.
So what happened is, I was then started to write a book. So that was because I published a book in the early 2012. And when I finally, sat down, started to write a book, and still have a lot of resistance. But then in 2011, October, at that time, as a family, we live in Las Vegas, actually. And one afternoon, just as usual, I pick up my children from school, and we are on the way, drove home, same highway, same route, same, route, everything. But then that day we had a car accident. We were sandwiched. And so it just is so thankful that I was driving a minivan. And so when that happened, my first reaction is I turn back to see how are my children. So they were crying, but they seemed okay. And then myself, I just saw in the front, a bit blurry light. I feel the liquid blood from my body out, and then the liquid from the car also went out. And, kind of the moments of when when I watch movies, right, they say that the moment that between life and death, suppose I would see like a couple of images or like a movie, I would see maybe God opened heaven to tell me something and, all the good stuff. No, Marie, no. What happens? What I experienced is a voice say, you haven't finished your book yet.
Oh my goodness, there's a wake-up call.
Yeah, and then I was like, seriously? And then so afterwards we had 6 months. I had 6 months rehab, from the accident.
That's a long time.
That's a long time because my neck and back. And then but then I knew I really need to finish that book. So then I wrote a book. Now, if you guys out there, because I know you guys are all big-hearted leader, you want to help people, and you probably, most likely, you might want to write a book as well, right? I'm just telling you, here's the thing. The book journey, right? The first part is you writing. And that, compared with later, that two part, H is the easiest one. I know. I kind of
okay. So hold on a second. You're just saying that the writing is the easiest part. Yeah. So we're over here listening, and I know that there's plenty of us that are, yes, we want to write a book. Maybe we've even started one, and we're like going, okay, is this really the right book that I want to write? Those things. But you're saying that part of our journey is actually the easiest. Okay, I'm leaning in. I'm getting some lessons here. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, at least for me personally, especially especially come to the personal journey. I don't mean the like a non-fiction that type. Maybe they have different experience.
Okay.
Because the first part, you finish writing, right? That's what I thought. I thought that must be the most difficult part. I said, okay, I'm done writing now. I send out to a professional editor, and then also whatever other people are doing. But then the second part, it's now you have to produce it, right? So now when the production, now basically editor come back and forth with you. You're going to talk about here, need to make adjustment and all that. And then so I feel like, my goodness, so I kind of relieve again those pains again the second time in this process. And then on the third time, the third part is, well, ladies or gentlemen, you're gonna have to market and promote that thing.
Right. You got to go talk about it.
You gotta like to talk about it. So because it was nearly 10 years ago, and
Yes.
those days, podcasting is not so popular at all. Probably just kind of got started.
Right.
And so I did not just not nowadays, we probably would go to, I would probably tell Tina Marie, say, hey, I have a book come out. Can I come to your podcast? That type of thing,
It's easier now.
Yeah, but those days, no, those days we still have to try to pitch like traditional media, like magazine, radio, the real radio station.
Yeah,
And
I was a radio talk show host for 6 years, so I understand that. I was getting pitched books all the time, and
yeah, and then or even TV station, right?
Right.
So I remember that there was a trip that after I invest into like the 3 months of media training, they teach you how to pitch. And then after that, I traveled all the way to New York. And so they arranged like, like something 30 different outlets, from medias, from magazine and newspaper and radios and TV show, all that. So during that trip, I found myself that I have to constantly repeat it, right? Obviously from different angle to different media outlet.
Right.
And then I, thank God that, very thankful that I did get quite a bit. Then radio show, I think I got 20 something radio show say yes, and plus all other thing. But here's the thing. Those days, the radio show, right? I remember when I went home and we have appointments, so we use telephone. Not like today we can use Zoom, right?
Yes, exactly.
We use telephone. So that means I don't get to see their face. So they just say, by this time, you got to call this number, and then they kind of just connect me to the live show, whatever. And really the first time kind of hit me when the host said, okay, 3, 2, 1, we're going to go live. And go live. So the host is doing his job, introduce me, and we go on to share the story. After finish, I found my body shivering. I found like, my goodness, so that means now millions of people, according to him, his listenership. Right. Millions of people out there, probably driving or do something else, they are listening to this show. They're listening to my voice and my story. And I don't know those people at all. So now I feel I'm totally naked.
Vulnerable.
I feel so vulnerable. I feel like I'm totally naked. That they know everything. That's what I felt. They know everything about me, my good and bad and ugly. And then I don't know who they are out there. So for me, that's the most difficult part. That season of time, I feel like, oh, you are not just wrote that story, not produce it, but boy, you need to really pop yourself up again and then to share. But that is actually where the real healing comes, though.
It sounds like it needed a lot of courage from Kelly. And so in there, what I'm hearing in between the lines is this entire process, the writing of the book, the coming to grips with that story again, the young story of you, not just the car. The car accident was that propeller, the propulsion of saying, you really need to write your story, Kelly. The story in A Little Girl Named Grace is of your childhood, is of the pain and the abuse and that existence that grew you. Like you say, that the thing that holds you back becomes a thing that creates your success. So it sounds as though you're telling us the story of your own higher becoming through the entire process of writing your book and telling your story.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to express to you guys. Although it was very challenging and difficult.
Yes.
But it's through that process, I don't know how many times I had to repeat the stories, and again from different angle. But that was where the real healing came, because I thought before I wrote the book, I already got healed.
Right.
But I wasn't, because in the process I really crying. I really, went through all those things again. And the moment I start to share so many times and then start to receive from either from Amazon or from, other outlets, receive the feedback that people say, you changed my life. I was thinking, okay, that phrase is like sounds so cheesy. I was thinking
Right.
never would happen to me, right? Those things basically made me shift the focus spot from me to them. And that's where the real healing happened. That's where really we say, okay, and that's the purpose. The purpose is not about me anymore. It already happened.
Right.
But it's really turn the table to say that is then the value that what I can give.
That's beautiful. And that's what you're helping these Christian coaches and consultants to also recognize in themselves. And so I know for myself, I wrote a story. I wrote journaling. So through the pain, I had a lot of journaling prior to my divorce back in 2010. It's so long ago. I go, how far back was that? But whenever you're in the pain, whenever you're immersed in it, sometimes journaling and telling your story to paper becomes your best friend. Did you ever journal your story before you decided to write the book?
Well, I'm a journaling girl, so I journal nowadays, not every day, but I mean couple times a week. And also that's kind of my way to communicate with God too. I will write down my thoughts, or I will just wait there and then let Him express His thoughts. And we accomplished quite a big thing because the book, the many books of the journal. And I think that's a really good outlet to go, no matter, it doesn't matter like when you have a tough stuff, even just, to clear your mind and then to really clear about your goal and all that. I think it's a great way to do that.
To capture it, right?
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's Emerson that said, an idea, if not grafted by the tip of a pencil, will be lost and gone forever. So oftentimes our brilliance, which is, I believe, completely God-inspired, spirit-inspired, universe-inspired, speaks in and through us in those quiet moments. And even through our pain, it's speaking to us like it did to you in that car accident, right? So let's say we're a coach, let's say we're a consultant, and we know we have a story, yet we want to protect the innocent because sometimes the people that are also part of our story, which could be our spouse or our ex-spouse or ex-family, could be bosses or brothers, sisters, could be children, that we still want to tell that story, that the urge and want is still there. Yet we want to be graceful, to use your word, grace. We want to be graceful and loving and kind to those people that are part of the story, yet still stand in our truth. Any words of advice for us there?
Well, in my case, it's when I asked God, I said, how do you want me to write this book? And He said, this book you gotta write in the third party. That's what the name is also what God gave me, is a little girl called Grace. Because really, I mean, my whole journey, if without God's grace, I don't know where I would be ended. And I changed all the names to, whatever the, inside the stories, inside the book. So I changed all the names, no matter it's the people's name or locations names.
Ah, beautiful.
So I basically changed all the names, that's how I did it. And I think, again, personally, that, we have more than one stories, right? And then again, even each story, you have different angle to talk about. Personally, I ask God, how do you want me to express it, right? And so I personally believe that, there's always, when we are called to do something in specific season, and there's in season grace and wisdom there.
Beautiful.
And so if you tap into that, that probably is the best way. And my own experiences that normally won't go wrong. If I gonna only do my own head, Kelly's head to do things, a lot of time it's wrong.
It's going to go wrong. Yeah. If we're only thinking inside of ourselves and trying to figure it all out, it just feels stuck, doesn't it? It just feels like, oh, that energy isn't really moving. It's like you're forcing it, right? And so whenever you speak, so taking our message from a book where you can protect the names, where you can protect the identities, and even, as you said, the location, so that it can't be inferred. When you speak your story on stage, what happens at that place?
Well, again, here's the thing. Also how you express it, right? Mm-hmm. What has happened in a sense of, for me, I still remember when the book publisher sent me a box of my books.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And that day, the rest of my family, my husband and my 2 children, they're all excited. But when that box arrived, myself, I was there at that box, and I did not dare to open it. Because again, I feel like, oh my goodness, now I gotta be so naked out there. And plus inside, one of the big part is about my mother. And, she did not know better. And that's how, a lot of things happen is because of that. Right.
Yeah.
She was addicted to gambling and alcohol. Now, here's the thing. My mom, years later, that she reconciled with God.
Yeah.
She admit the mistake she has made. Right.
That's
good. So
that
for me, that moment, it's personally, I only can do what I believe what God called me to do. And do everything I can to be graceful. That's that you say. But it's not possible for me to, try to, because I cannot make up a story. I don't want to make up a story. I don't want to.
We're not going to lie.
Change a story. Yeah, exactly. That's a big thing. I couldn't lie. I couldn't lie about what happened, what didn't happen. Again, even is not all every single details, but the key part of that. And afterwards, again, when to receive the feedback from the reader, I think it was the right amount of the details of the core of the spirit of that story, and that story kind of went through a little bit my lifespan, right? From when I was a little girl all the way to basically ending when we are living in Las Vegas. So it's quite a bit, quite many years. So again, people kind of drew it from different part of it, and some people resonate with when girls were little girl. Some people resonate with when Grace met God in her kitchen, some, it's just different, right? And I think, it's not possible that you try to say, oh, I don't want to do this part. This part is really, again, I would say in season grace and wisdom is what you need to tap in.
Exactly. And I hear that it's having our own courage to tell our story, to know that at some level, just to trust at some level, that our story will impact another person. And from that, them hearing our story, they'll realize they're not alone either. And you getting through, just simply Grace getting through, Kelly getting through these moments in your life gives us inspiration that we can too. We can too. And so you work with individuals and you help them create that positioning for themselves. As coaches, even entrepreneurs and business owners, we stand upon the foundation of who we have been. Any one of us here, well, that's all we can do is stand where we are now from where we've been. And then we take ourselves the best we know how to the future. And so help us understand the type of person that you work with. Maybe you could dive into a person, change their name if you need to, just like we do in the book, right? And let us know, what are some of the challenges that you see your clients come to you with?
Okay, so I wanna before I talk about that, I wanna kind of mention though, now we are in the context of business world, okay? We're not
Yes.
having a context of business or your career, when you want to share your story when in the business world, right? And since I'm one of the 12 certified My Kim's person, talk about you
Yes,
are the brand, these things. So
exactly.
you don't have to, when I told my clients from beginning, say, oh, we're going to have to share a story, they were like, woo, I don't want to share my story. And
Hmm.
here's the thing. It's not necessarily your personal story. Though. I always say there are three business stories you must tell to position you differently. You're easier to stand out. And one is we call it founder story. The other one is a business story, and the third one is a client story, right? So when it
Hmm.
comes to the founder story, for me, right? I don't necessarily talk about the little girl called Grace, that story, right?
Right.
I would take a little part of it. Maybe I would say, something, the pitch can be 30 seconds. So pitch will be something like this. I grew up in a time and a place when baby girls were not valued much. We were just seen as a future baby production machine. No need to invest as anything, especially education. So growing up, there are 1.5 decades of my life was very dark. I will never know what gonna happen to me in the night because of my mom and her drunken boyfriends. And
Mm.
then later on, while I tried to climb the corporate ladder, I was in a very male-dominated situation.
Hmm.
In USA, I love that movie called Hidden Figures. Right? It's
Yes,
a
I love that
group.
movie
Yeah,
too.
it's a group of the real hero behind the NASA. Right?
Hmm.
And remember the main cast, Catherine, that she had to run blocks away in order to go to ladies' room. Well,
Exactly.
I experienced a little bit similar like that. I often went to the business meeting or important board meeting because I was one of the youngest female executive, and worse, yes, female. They don't have ladies room on that floor, right?
Mm.
And later, when I want to become an entrepreneur, I was told by a very well-known business coach, and he will remain forever nameless because everybody almost know about him, that he told me that you can forget about podcasts in English because you are not American nor British. Nobody will listen to your podcast. When I
Wow.
want to write a book in English, I remember that New York media trip. There was two very well-known journalists told me that, girl, don't do it. As American, I won't read your book.
Oh,
So you see, that is my kind of part of my founder story. I did not have
yes.
to touch any detail, but you pretty much in literally less than 30 seconds, you kind of have a picture
Of the
of
challenges that you've had to come through, and the
exactly.
feeling, the emotion, I could feel that inside of my skin, whether we're female or male, just to hear that those atrocities would be spoken toward you and even be able to go into your mind. Now, I know you as a very strong woman. Of course, you've overcome, right? And so, we can have faith in knowing that you and your God meets with those atrocities and those words of doubt. It's not true. You can see lies, but the truth is, every single one of us here, we get met with lies from society, culture, even our loved ones, where they're speaking to us from their hurt. They're speaking to us from their own fears. And whenever they do that, it can sound painful to our psyche, to our mind, to our spirit. And we must rise above that, because who we are and what we've been here to be, we're becoming, is stronger than anything that feels against us. So yes, I can feel that founder story message. And just in those few seconds, we're totally engaged with you and on board with what that next level of wisdom you would impart to our minds and our businesses would be.
Right. So that's a circle back that your last question, right? So
Right.
when a lot of coach consultants, especially Christians, when they came to me, we need to work on their positioning. Then we would do a couple assessment and then take an inventory of their experience, their past, and their expertise, and then we will craft that founder story because you guys probably can feel it, right? After you listen to what I just described, and you kind of feel like I'm not totally stranger to you. You kind of feel like, oh, she kind of open-handed, open arm, just to tell quite a bit her stuff, her personal stuff to you. And as a human, that's how we connect, right? I mean, a lot of somebody, I think that especially my audience, a lot of time they pop the question when I go live in the videos. They ask me, say, but Kelly, you don't know my industry, it's very competitive. I said, you want to try mine? I said, mine is a business coach or marketing strategist. You know how many of us out there? The key is there is no competition for me. Because there is only one Kelly out of 7-8 billion people, right?
Yes.
And I'm speaking to you. You are the same. And that's where, you have to share about your story. And and if after this, I can give you that my business story, how I found the business and my mission, and I share with you my client's transformational story, their testimonial, then you will go, okay, I kind of know this Kelly crazy woman, huh? And I kind of know. Okay,
and I can trust her.
Yeah, I kind of can trust her a little bit. And then the client story, you check it out, is legit, right? And then you go, okay, so she is not like fake at all. She pretty much is like kind of just a straight shooter. Okay, let's give a try, that type of thing.
Yeah,
right?
Let's go for it, right?
Yeah, so that is what I'm trying to say. What's the power of the story can position you very differently, because in the story often you also will express your point of view. When you don't stand for anything, you stand for nothing.
True. So what does Kelly stand for?
Well, I stand for, if I can do it, you can do it. Well, I mean, that is one of the things. What I mean is I truly believe that if you are listening or watching, I don't know, this will go video, audio only. If you are listening to this crazy woman from Taiwan, is using her third language.
Yes.
Have built a business, have wrote an Amazon bestseller. I think you can do it too.
That is so true.
I say
Amen.
this way is that you matter. Is that you really matter. Right? I don't care where you are. When I was little, I don't know how many times my mom had to move us, and I came from nothing. We were sleeping. I was sleeping on the floor for many years, and so I just want to encourage you to say. And by the way, I'm 53.
Yeah,
so,
I'm 52.
So if people like, I know sometimes we see a lot of younger entrepreneur and leaders, and I mean, they are awesome, but guess what? They don't have your experience. They don't have your life experience, right?
Exactly.
We, just like iPhone, they update once a year. I mean, I have 53.0 version. I think it's better than 20.0 version, right?
I love that. And, each one of us has our story. I've worked with entrepreneurs and influencers that have reached millions in their 20s and have subsequently lost it all very easily. That whole, term, easy come, easy go. And then they call me afterwards and like, I don't know what I did. I don't know how I got to this place. Can you please help? And I believe that the pain that we encounter in our life is the lesson. It's that teacher. It's that handout. I know we're speaking of God, universe, spirit today. And I want us to really be humble and observant in our lives, in our own lives. That, and you're here with us, so we ask ourselves, when I get to these places of stuck, where we feel there's an impasse, where we don't know the answer, where we have more confusion than possibility ahead of us, what do we innately do? As a human experience, we reach to something of the unseen. inherently, we will reach to the please help me. And we're casting our voice out into the unknown, believing at some level the unknown is listening. And so in many different constructs and cultures, we call that God. We call that whatever religion we would follow or have been raised with as a direction path for our unknowing. And I ask each one of us, and myself included, whenever we get to this place, and I've been there over the last 3 days, I've purposefully allowed myself to be in the I don't know serious, scenario of my next becoming. This part of me wants to always know. It's like, I've got to know. I've been through so much. I should know. Right. And then there's another part of me that goes, stop trying to know, just relax and create that stillness, create space so that something else can come in its place besides what I've already been. And you help people with this rebranding, remessaging, whatever it is that we have in our marketplace, right? But the truth is, would you summarize, is it reaching for God? Is it reaching for the unknown? Is it allowing ourselves to be still and finally listen in a peaceful place where we're more like a child in that place where we're looking for that guidance from the outside source?
Well, in my situation, in my client situation, and that's why the Power One framework came. It's before, that was actually a speech, and before I gonna give that speech, I was wondering what should I share, and because it's a quite prestigious stage in England, and then
yes, it was a TED Talk, correct?
Yeah, no, it was Chris Ducker's for the entrepreneurs. Will be like nearly 400 entrepreneurs from 30-something countries to London. And so, all these people, I mean, they have heard enough. They have enough information that just say, they are quite experienced. So I was asking, God said, well, what do you want me to share? And he said that, what is that one thing you always help your clients when they were stuck and they're about to go to the next level? No matter they just got started or they're gonna scale from 6 to 7, 7 to 8 figures, when the moment their ceiling have to become the floor again, then I have epiphany. Because every single time when we hit that point, there is no amount of external thing like, okay, let's just try another marketing strategy or let's just try another tools can solve the problem. The always to overcome that situation, it's we have to get back to say, okay, where we are now as a person. And we know in our heart, the deep inside our heart, that what kind of next level leader that God has called us to become. And there's a gap, right? There's a gap now and later. So we have to figure that out first. The moment we willing to, acknowledge it, because I always say the deeper self-awareness you are willing to accept, the faster you will grow.
I love that. The faster you will grow because you've realized that gap.
Yeah,
yourself.
Because you are brave enough to admit where really you are right now. Again, the good and the bad and the ugly. Right. And because that take courage. And then you say, okay, good. I know now exactly where I am, and I also know where I want to go. So from there, we can say, okay, what I need to do to become that. And to becoming is a series of micro action steps. It's not from today to tomorrow because it's character building and mostly like it's discipline, right? And it's kind of the habit building. A lot of time it's a new set of new habits you need to establish, and then discipline yourself, need to be stick with it. That answers the question of why so many lottery winners that they got back to where they were in the very short amount of time, because they don't have that character to hold it. And
the old habits are still running.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you're saying, we need to have this self-assessment, this really humble, raw, deep self-assessment, and be real with ourselves. I love that statement that you said, when the ceiling becomes the floor. I wrote that down. It's going to be quoted in the description of this episode today. Because yes, we can be so accomplished, yet we're stuck on purpose. There's a need for us to do this assessment. I love that. Where I am now, a question that came through that I'm listening, and I guess I'm the one for all of us here asking these questions, but I'm feeling that other people are having the same question as well. Because you said the gap equals where I am and where I want to go. Well, sometimes we could say, yes, we know where we are. We can look at the external. We can look at our bank accounts. We can look at our relationships. We can look at our belief in our connection to spirit and God and be honest there. We can look at our health, right? We can look at our life right now and give some sort of an assessment. Sometimes we don't give ourselves as much credit as we should because we're probably farther along than our lower mind wants us to think, right? However, we get more stuck in that secondary question, in the where do I want to go? That may not be so clear if we have pain in the assessment of our current self, right? Have you ever worked with someone who says, okay, I can see where I am, but I'm really not clear in where I want to go?
Yeah, plenty of them. And that's where, here's the thing, is kind of mirroring process.
Okay.
When you are not, a lot of time it's the pride totally blur. You blur our vision. Because most of people, when they come to me, and I'm sure probably Tina Marie is the same, right? They are accomplished in one way or the other, right? They have quite a big experience, both life and career and business.
Right.
But here's the thing, refer back to that sentence I say, the deeper self-awareness you are willing to accept, the faster you will grow. Meaning that if you come, let's say you come to me, and I always have the same situation here. There's some clients that came to me, they are willing to say they don't care where they are now in status, social status. Okay, let's just say it this way. And they say, I know, I need to hit somewhere bottom again so I can really grow. They are really ready to do that. But some of them can say, yeah, they have the pride, like, I know, those things I know already. Why should we do again? Or why should I even look at it again? And that put a filter,
right?
Kind of vision from. So then they cannot tell. They cannot really tell. They cannot see where they really are. And we have a little bit guidance, say, okay, let's look at your 5 invisible area to take a stewardship. Okay. So you mentioned, say, external factors, area is easy to see, right? Bank account, car, whatever your assets, that kind of thing. But the invisible area, right? So such as time, such as energy level, such as a money mindset, relationship, and space. So when I say time, meaning there is no time management, in my opinion. Because everybody got 24 hours, if you got 25, please let us know, So we all have 24, but why the result is so different?
Yes.
Because we only can manage ourselves in time. We cannot manage the time. Okay? When it comes to the energy level, what I mean is everybody we are in different seasons of life, right? And some people are morning bird, some people are night owl. So, but in between, right, you have those hours are your sharpest hour. Some hours you are like, okay, not that sharp, but you are still okay. Some hour you can forget about, you want to do something, it's hard, right?
Right.
How you manage those, right? When I say relationship, well, just my mentor, leadership mentor, John Maxwell, told us once, say, every single December 25th in the night is his happiest time. Because every year, what he does is gives or send out, right? I mean, all the thing is family all happy. And that is where he will take his agenda for the whole year, right? January, and then he will look at each single appointment. And he will look at the people say, okay, this relationship is great for this season. We need to move forward. Some are like, is past season already. Some is he make a decision. He shouldn't even go to have a lunch with that person. That type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Relationship. Because you know that some people in our journey is only for a season. Some people is ourselves make a mistake. We did not draw enough boundary.
Right. It does come down to boundaries.
And we allow them to come to kind of sabotage ourselves.
Exactly.
Right? And that type of thing. And then mindset, money mindset. Money mindset talk about really like not just about, oh yeah, I'm able to charge a higher fee. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about say, how do you see money in this season? Right?
It's a relationship, isn't it?
Yeah. Because
money is a relationship.
It's just a tool, just like anything else. But what is your relationship with that? So that type of thing.
I love that. And then you mentioned space. That's your environment.
Okay, space, actually, the goal is we're going to get into your mental space. But in order you have a cleaner mental space, you need to clean both two spaces, which is, I'm not so sure you should put a plural S there, but you have your physical space and you have digital space. Haha, I know.
Oh, goodness. That just stung a little bit, right?
Yeah, right. Just right. And then
because I'm like, okay, space, mental space, cool. Okay, let's go there. Physical space, okay, I got that. Digital space, whoa, what is
that? Think about, my desktop, my Dropbox, my Google Drive, oh my goodness, right? But you see, those things, you just little by little, they all they kind of stuck behind your head.
They're there.
They're like there, and every time actually bothering you, right? You maybe you turn on your computer, let's say the digital space. You turn on a computer and you stare at your desktop, right? You say, you tell yourself, I really need to clean up my desktop. And you try.
My desktop is so clean. I'm proud of myself.
And then you talk to yourself, right? Probably like many times, right? And then before you know it, 1 week passed by, 1 month passed by, half year, a year, and just fuller and fuller your desktop. And this apply to anywhere physical space as well.
It's so
There's
true.
A corner, maybe in your garage.
Or the trunk of your car.
Yeah. Right? You pass every time and say, I'm gonna get that done. Like, the problem is all those things is all occupied. Your mental space. And then you wonder, what on earth? I don't have a space in my head to make the right decision for important stuff.
Oh my God. We could have an entire show on that one, Kelly. I love talking to you. This has been so enlightening. Really, I've taken so many gems away from our time together today. And one is, thank you for giving us the courage to tell our story. Thank you for giving us that little push, sans the car accident, hopefully for everyone here, right? We don't need to wait for that gentle and sometimes disruptive push by the universe and God to say, can you get done what I told you to get done? Because we each know, everyone here, we can all nod. So raise your hand and nod whenever you know that you've been given something by God, by Spirit, to say, this is your baton. Now run with it. And what if we haven't left the starting gate, right? So thank you for that permission. Second is to have us understand that it first takes to go into our deeper self-awareness. And the sooner, faster, deeper we go there, and we're able to accept that part of ourselves, the faster we will grow and the further we will go. Thank you for that. And I love these invisible areas, the 5 invisible areas of your power of one framework, which is time, energy, money mindset, relationships, and space. And I know we touched on that digital space, which could be a little for some people. However, what we need to do is really own ourselves and our energy so that we can bring that message, bring that destiny to bear And, you know, we never know, do we have 24 hours left or do we have 24 years? You know, we never know. So the time is absolutely now. And Kelly, your message and the timeliness of this message for us listening and having this intimate relationship with you for these moments is very much poignant. Thank you so much for sharing who you are. Thank you for joining us from Switzerland. Everybody, I want you to commit this to memory. Now, you can always go to bonfirecoaching.com and look at our episodes and go find Kelly's name, Kelly Baader, Baader, and you're going to remember her name because you're going to be going to her to her website, and you're going to subscribe. She has a free gift for all of us today. And that's KELLYBAADER.com. And so, Kelly, you shared that you have a gift for us. I'm going to read this because I'm so excited. You do have the powerofoneFramework.com. There's a lot that we can learn there from your website on that. And follow you on Instagram. I'm an IGer. The Graham, cool. You have the masterclass. So go to powerofoneframework.com/masterclass. What are they going to find there in this masterclass that you've created for us?
Well, there is a Power One framework. Is what is for business. Okay, it's what is that number one solution, transformation solution you can provide to your number one client. By the number one offer and by the best current version of you, one, and that's why it's Power One.
I love that. You're brilliant. You're so cool. So if you are looking for an amazing coach that's going to take your hand through your darkness, through your stuckness, wherever you know you're supposed to be. If right now your ceiling is become your floor and you're ready to launch and go to the next level for you, reach out to Kelly Baader, our wonderful guest today, KELLYBAADER. You're listening to this on purpose. So follow your wisdom, follow that innate pull, and take action. Thank you, Kelly. It's always wonderful to be with you. We wish you an amazing day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, dear. Talk to you soon.